Hello everyone and welcome back to Sparrows and Business Diaries for a very business focused video today. I am back on my Spoonflower using Repper bandwagon. That's not the right expression, is it? Anyway, we're back on Spoonflower and it's something that I have neglected for a while because I've had so many other things going on, and something took off that took off in a small way that I wasn't expecting to. I started a membership for people who want extra content from me, so extra videos, audio, written articles, just things like that. I set it up, haven't even really promoted it yet other than just name dropping it and mentioning it every now and again. And I had some paid subscribers straight away, so I kind of had to launch into creating the content for it, which I'm so thrilled about. It was actually a really good thing and stopped me hesitating and just, worrying about it. I had to dive straight in. So I've been doing that, and now I've got into a little bit of a rhythm with that, and certainly moving forward that's just going to improve. I have found the time to get back into some of the projects that I either started before Christmas or was intending to start before Christmas. One of those is to set up a Spoonflower shop, which is a print-on-demand website where you're predominantly selling fabric and wallpaper, but you can also buy sort of patterns on other products as well. I, as you know, am an affiliate for the Repper app, which is like a kaleidoscope pattern maker, makes repeating patterns. I have used it for a handful of scrapbook paper pads on Amazon KDP that most of them have started selling now. So I thought, well, why don't I take some patterns and put them onto another website and see if I can get a small passive income from that. I will put a link somewhere to the video where I talk about this, and I kind of get things set up. Now I've come back to it and I'm looking at what I did last time, and I'm going through the patterns that I uploaded onto Spoonflower. And the first thing I'm doing is I am deleting anything that I don't really like anymore. It's a good problem to have, I suppose, with Repper, is that you can end up with so many really lovely patterns from the same image that you have put into Repper, that what I think I did was I got a bit carried away and sort of uploaded lots and lots of designs that were actually very similar colour palette, similar type of pattern. And I just want to whittle it down so that I've maybe got 6 patterns for each colour palette or what have you. And I'm doing that now. That's where I'm starting. And then when I've done that, we'll take a look at what my next steps are going to be. So let me just run you through what I have done so far. I'm just filming my screen like this rather than doing a screen record because we're not quite in tutorial territory here, but I do want to sort of run through what I've been doing. So I went back to Repper and I looked at all of the designs that I'd got, and I deleted loads of them, loads of them, which I did mainly based on when you come to export a tile, you can really look at the pattern more closely and you can see flaws in it. So I removed some of them for that reason. And when I mean flaws, I don't mean anything that Repper has done wrong. I mean where these have been taken from a photograph of plants. Some of the leaves had sort of notches and sort of little diseased areas and little problems, which didn't necessarily notice when I was looking at it as a pattern, but when I looked at the single tile that was being exported, I could see that there was a problem. So I deleted quite a few like that. I then scrolled through and deleted loads that looked the same as each other, and then I also just went through and deleted a load that I didn't like. I then came on to Spoonflower, and I think I've already told you that I went through everything that was on here. I looked at how it looked on wallpaper, how it looked on fabric, how it looked on various products, and anything that didn't look nice on anything I got rid of. I also again got rid of things that looked very similar to each other, and I sort of ended up with these and then added a few of those green ones. Something else that I taught myself how to do, it's not that difficult, I say taught myself, just figured out how to do, is to create these different collections. So I've got fresh garden greens, watercolour neutrals and Nouveau Indigo Fire. And then I've also created a sampler collection, because when you come over here and click on collections and you click on sampler, then that's how, so everything I've created is also in the sampler folder, as well as, or collection, as well as being in its own collection that describes its style. And then it says, want to use this collection for a filler yard product, start designing. You can then choose this here, so you can buy a yard of, this is if you want to sample your designs, and you don't have to anymore on Spoonflower, but I've decided that I would like to. I just think it would be useful to sort of to have that in a video, and also for me to just see how things print up. And then yeah, you get this grid and you just move your fabric swatch over to the grid, basically. I don't want to do that right now, but I just wanted to show you that I had figured out how to do it. So yeah, just by playing around, I've learned a few bits and pieces. And let me go back to, yeah, so I've kind of tidied up what I already had, but I kind of want to leave that behind because I'm not sure how much of this I'm going to keep in the end, and I want to focus on something else instead. And I also want to just run through some hints and tips and things that I've learned so far. Right, so we've completed the first stage of things that I wanted to do, which was to just take a look at what I'd got, delete things that I didn't want anymore. I've proofed all of the designs, I've zoomed in, I've kind of checked that there aren't any flaws and problems, and I've got a sort of small collection of designs left that for now I'm going to keep, but I might not keep them in there forever. We will see. So that was good, and that's really helped me refamiliarise myself with Spoonflower, the platform. These are some things that I have learned. So a lot of the designs that I've got on there are based on nature photography, just some photographs that I've taken in my garden of leaves and plants and so on. And what I've learned is I really need to be careful when I take those photographs that I'm not taking photographs of leaves or petals that have got lots of very obvious imperfections in them, because when you then zoom into the pattern, you can see it and it just looks a bit weird. It looks a bit odd. It doesn't look very nice. So I ended up deleting a whole load of things because of that. The second thing that I've come to appreciate is that not every design looks good on every product. So for example, you might have a design that actually looks really, really great on wallpaper, but doesn't really come across as well on fabric or on a cushion cover or a tablecloth or whatever. And then by the same token, you might have something that looks really, really great on a fabric sample, but looks terrible as wallpaper. And I've realised that you just sort of have to accept that and move on. You might occasionally have a design that looks fantastic on everything, and that's great. But I think it's okay if you upload something that is specifically for fabric or looks particularly good as a cushion cover or as a wall hanging, but doesn't necessarily look great as wallpaper. I've also realised that the fact that you can create so many patterns on Repper is less of a problem than I thought it would be. I predicted that I would have a lot of trouble sort of whittling down designs into ones that I actually wanted to put onto Spoonflower, because Repper generates so many of them so quickly for you. But actually, when you go through the process of exporting a tile on Repper, you get to see everything close up and you can pick out little imperfections. And again, when I talk about imperfections, they're not imperfections with the way that Repper works. They're just things where you've picked a pattern and only when you zoom in can you see that it's just got a line that's in a slightly weird place or at an odd angle and kind of spoils the pattern. And so you can delete that one and move on to the next one and see how that looks. So that process of exporting on Repr, and then also the process you go through on Spoonflower where you're proofing your design, you're zooming in and zooming out, and you're looking at it on wallpaper, you're looking at it on fabric. By the time you've gone through that process of checking things over and over again, you really get a feel for what's working and what isn't. And I found it really easy actually to pick some things to delete or to not go ahead and use because of that checking process that you go through. And then the other things I've learned, one of which I've just shown you, is how to, if you want to buy samples of your designs, which actually I do out of curiosity, then I figured out how to do that. So that's really good. And then the other thing is, in order to verify your account to be able to sell your designs, you have to fill out a tax form. So that's on my to-do list. And you've got to verify your address. And there are several different ways that you can do that. And the way that I'm going to choose is you can just place an order to your address. So I'm just going to order a piece of fabric so that my address, you know, becomes kind of validated on the website or on my account. So yes, that's two things that I'm going to do, possibly today, I'm not sure. But where I'm going next is I want to try and figure out ways of making a particular style of design. And I have chosen mid-century modern as a style of design that I want to try and create using Repr, using Canva, and using Procreate as well. So the first thing I've done is I've done some research into some mid-century modern wallpaper designs, which I think I'm just going to spin you around and show you those so you can see where I'm getting my inspiration from. So you can see that all I've done is I've typed into Google mid-century modern wallpaper just to take a look at the different things that come up. And these are all of the images, and you can see this one here I really like. It's using lots of different shades of sage green, lots of squares, rectangles, semicircles, quarter circles. There is some like a kind of texture to the different greens that will be interesting to see if I can recreate that in Procreate. This one is much brighter and bolder. Again, there's some texture in the colours. This one's got some black and white in it. It's very stark, but I think you probably could recreate it quite easily. This one here, I don't think you'd even need Repr for. You could recreate this one just in Canva because it is using semicircles, and you could use your own colour palette. This one has got that sort of slight atomic motif in there. This one's a lovely colour palette. I really like this one. The sort of toffee orangey colour and the duck egg blue. This one, again, the like the parallel lines seems to be something that comes up as a 1950s or mid-century motif quite frequently. There's lots of different colours in this one. Again, lovely colour palette with the shades of blue and that slightly mustardy browny colour. It's definitely giving me lots of ideas for colour palettes. I think this one here is definitely one that I will try out, or sort of something similar to that. Some lovely colour palettes here. These are the sorts of colours that I think we always associate with mid-century modern. This is a very Repr-like design, I thought, with the circles and ovals and all the layering and the lines and those little diamond shapes sort of in between. That really reminds me of the kind of thing that comes up on Repr. Okay, so my next update then is I've used Canva to create just these basic shapes, trying to pull the types of shapes that were in those mid-century modern designs. Also playing around with colour palettes a little bit. It doesn't look exactly as it is on screen, so the one on the left over here is I'm trying to use the sort of the Pantone peach colour in there. So Pantone release colour of the year every year, don't they? And this year's one is peach, so I've got some peach in that one, and then hopefully some other coordinating colours. And then over here, these are actually a bit lighter in real life. They're more of a sort of sage colour, and that's like a sage and blue with some like a neutral brown in it. Yeah, so those are forming my what I put into Repr. And if we have a look, you can see me as well. Yeah, you can just see what I've come up with. So these are the tiles. These are not the patterns, but I think you can see that definitely getting somewhere with this whole mid-century modern sort of style and shapes and things like that. So here we go then. This is how some of these designs look on Spoonflower. You can see I've uploaded quite a few there. I think it's 8 in total. And I've gone for the ones that were part of that cream and sage green, or sort of slightly different shades of green colour palette. And this is what they look like in their little thumbnails. This is how one of them looks a little bit more close up there. And you can see if you click on the 20 plus products section, you can see what it looks like on a range of different things. And I'm pretty pleased with this. I think it really does look like a soft sage cream mid-century modern repeating design, and yeah, I really love it. It's something that I would actually have myself. I like it on the cushions, I like it on the table runner. I think on the duvet cover that you can see in the on the left hand side there, the pattern would look better, bigger. So one of the things that I might do in future with some of these patterns is to upload a small repeat and a large repeat. This one I think is one where I've got the repeat a little bit too big, but I think it's good to show you that as well. And what you see that one I think looks better on the duvet cover and better on the cushions, but actually could do with being a little bit smaller when it comes to some of the other products. And also if people are buying like fat quarters, they might want to see more of a repeat of the pattern. I don't know yet. These are all things that I need to figure out over time. This pattern I thought I'd show you because I think I need to switch it and kind of put it on its side, because I think that might look effective as a fan shape. The only thing with this is I think this veers into looking more Art Deco, especially if I do tip it on its side and it becomes like a shell or a fan shape, which is very, very typical of Art Deco designs. It looks good, I really like it, but I do think it's the wrong way up. Now I'm showing you this one as an example of a design that I've abandoned. Can you see where I'm pointing the arrow, the cursor? There's a tiny bit of the pattern which is repeated perfectly, but I don't like it there. It doesn't do anything. It's not really part of the pattern. If we zoom in, you can see that it's just kind of floating there. It's like a little tail of something. And it didn't matter sort of where I moved the like the pattern to on Repper. I couldn't quite get rid of it. So I'm actually going to delete this pattern because of this little bit that's just overhanging on the edge there. And that links back to what I've already said, I think, about by the time you've gone through this process, you've uploaded some patterns, you've looked at them close up, you've looked at them from a distance, you've looked at the tile that you export on Repper. At some point you tend to pick up on things like that, and that's actually really, really helpful. This one here, you can see that you've got the lines that were present on some of the patterns that we found when I was researching mid-century modern wallpaper on Google. That sage colour with the cream just looks absolutely gorgeous. And here we are back on Repper. I just wanted to show you some of those designs. I think you saw some of them earlier, but this is them on a screen recording, so it's a lot clearer and you haven't got my mucky Mac screen to contend with. I will probably upload all of these to Spoonflower and go through that process, and I'll be able to pick out the ones that look the best. And you can see I've got like those ovals, the duck egg blue, the sort of browny colours. I haven't done anything in the kind of bolder colours like mustard and navy blue and red and things like that that we also saw on the wallpaper. But I do think these are looking pretty cool. Like they look pretty good. That one with the flowers, I really like that one. I think that looks so much like something that you would see in a shop. So impressed with that. Actually so impressed with a lot of these, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed that when I go through the process of uploading onto Spoonflower and exporting the tiles, that there won't be too many errors and ones that I have to delete, because yeah, these all just look really, really good. Okay, so I am going to wrap up the video here. It has been more of a fly on the wall experience than a tutorial, but I'm too early on, I think, in this to actually create a step-by-step tutorial, because as you could tell from watching this video, I was learning so many things as I went along. What I'm hoping though is that by giving you that fly on the wall experience, it gives you the confidence to kind of do what I'm doing, which is just have a go, learn some stuff, open a shop, pop some designs on. That being said, I've got a list of to-dos, like what I'm going to do next with Spoonflower and Repper. I think once I've accomplished all of those, I should be in a position to do a little beginner's tutorial, either about Repper or Spoonflower or both, I think. My next steps for this Spoonflower shop then. First of all, I'm going to keep going with the whole mid-century vibes. I think that's going to be a really, really good way to learn how to create something specific on Repper. There's loads of different colour palettes I can try. I'm going to create some like textured shapes and things using Procreate. I'm really, really pleased with how some of these patterns have turned out on the products and things. So I'm going to keep going with that so that I can hopefully gain some expertise in that particular pattern style. Then what I might do is then focus on a different one like Art Nouveau or Art Deco, something like that. And again, go through a process of really learning what sort of graphics, what sort of lines and shapes and things need to be on the original graphics that you put into Repper in order to get the type of pattern that you want at the end of it. There's so much scope, as you could see. So that's going to remain my pattern theme for now. And then these are the things that I am hoping to do in our like next Repper / Spoonflower session. Is I've got to fill out the tax form that is on there and order something to verify my address. I could do that now, but I think I'm going to concentrate on adding designs on there still at the moment. I need to add the remaining designs that I've shown you in previous clips. I'm going to create some textured mid-century modern shapes on Procreate so that I can add in some of my own like artwork and design work into it. I still need to create a shop logo and a shop banner. I need to add titles to all of my designs. I need to add tags to them. I need to add descriptions to them. And I'm going to basically just do that I'm going to like time block that and just do all the titles at once, all the descriptions, etc. Yeah, and then I think at that point, and then hopefully when the shop has been verified, at that point, I can put everything public and I can put things up for sale and we can see what happens. You'll be able to visit my shop. I can put a link to it and you can kind of go and have a look at what's in there. You'll be able to click on the patterns and see how it looks on all the different products and things like that. So as I'm going through the tutorials, you'll be able to see all the behind the scenes back end stuff, but you'll also be able to come and have a look at the shop and see what it looks like from a customer's perspective as well. So I'm really, really glad to be back into this again. If you are interested in having a go at this yourself and you want to use the Repper app and start experimenting with it and playing with it, then there is a description code in my description box below. And I am looking forward to seeing you again for the third Spoonflower / Repper video, where hopefully we get to the point where my shop is open. I will see you next time.